Good morning, everyone. Hey, welcome to 6 a.m. and my first first 6 a.m. live broadcast on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. All right, so if you've been following along on Facebook, we have just recently finished our Back to Basics series. So this morning, I'm actually starting something new. We're going to be talking about heart work here for a while. I want to give you kind of a little background today and share with you what's been going on with me. So for this month, this would be the month of May of 2020. In my big oily group, the Crunchy Bunch, my friend Missy has been having a positivity challenge. And we were thinking, with everything going on with the world going crazy over this virus, people need positivity, right? It's been very easy for us to get caught up in playing a numbers game, in fear, in discouragement, in anger, in all of these negative things. So she really wanted to go ahead and encourage people to have a more positive outlook. And of course, there are tools that go along with that. So she and others have been sharing those tools in the group pretty much every day. It's pretty awesome. And so for the challenge, we were told to just pick an oil, any one that speaks to us, and every day use it while saying just a positive affirmation. It could be the same affirmation every day. It could be a different affirmation every day. It could be a different oil every day. It doesn't matter. But the point is just to encourage that positive mindset that we all desperately need. Right, at times we all desperately need that positivity. So when she was asking, what oils are you going to pick? Everybody had one, and I just couldn't figure out what oil I wanted to use. I just wasn't sure. Nothing was really, really calling to me. And then, the Lord, He works. Just put it in my heart that I love peace and calming. I have loved peace and calming since I first tried it as a tiny little sample in my starter kit. It was just, I love the way it smells. But I never really let myself use it. That oil, when we finally got it, was one I use on my children. It was one I used for them because that was like my meltdown tamer. I might diffuse it to help bring a little more peace and calming to my household on those days when everybody's just butting heads, stuff like that. But it wasn't one I would just use for me because it was, that's not why I had purchased it. So, anyway, the Lord put it on my heart that I really needed to go ahead and allow myself to enjoy and to take into account my own wants and desires. I'm very good at putting myself last. I'm not very good at recognizing my own needs because I'm busy taking care of everyone else's. So I have been using peace and calming twice a day, every day for the entirety of this month. Today is like the 19th. So for 19 days, I've been using peace and calming. And y'all, it's been so nice. I have noticed that my attitude is a lot better. I'm not as quick to get aggravated or frustrated. So yeah, I'm definitely noticing a lot more peace and calm in my own life since I've been using peace and calming, which is pretty funny, but there it is. Okay, so that was kind of how this month has started. And then early on, Missy had done some other trainings. One of them I will share with you today, and the other one we are going to continue to talk about as this series continues. But, you notice when you're actually focusing on your thought life, you have a lot of thoughts every day. I think, if I remember the numbers correctly, you are only conscious of about 10% of the thoughts that you have every day. So there's 90% of the thoughts you're having every day that you don't even realize that you're having, which is pretty crazy. So the ones that come to the surface are important. And most of the time, we don't necessarily pay a whole lot of attention to the reactions we're having to things. And it's pretty crazy, y'all. But it's true. Anyway, so as this challenge has continued, I have started noticing certain things about myself. So I have noticed when I go to share with someone, that either to invite them into a training or ask them if they're interested or something or whatever. I have noticed every time I do that, there's a little voice in my head that says they're going to say no. And it's a downer. That little voice that says constantly, they're going to say no. 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 It's been bringing me down. And I don't know how long that voice has been there. It's probably been there a very long time, but I had never really listened to it. Or no, it's not that I hadn't listened to it. It's that I hadn't really even realized it was there. It's been there for a very long time. But I guess it's been one of those background ones, and it finally came up to the surface. They're going to say no. Now, I've been inviting anyway, but you know what? A lot of people have been saying no. And I'm not sure if that's just anyhow related to that voice, if it's just me, if it's been affecting the way I come across when I invite or what. But it's been kind of discouraging. And so I've been really working on that. And I finally found the root to it. I'm not going to go into that today because I don't have time. But as this series continues, I will share. All right. So I wanted to share the quickie one. So if you have Young Living essential oils, they're all right. Let me give you a little background. I don't have time to go into the whole thing. I will go back and add to this video a link to a video I had done previously talking about emotions. But basically, what it boils down to in the 60-second version is our emotions affect our body chemistry. Right? And I know this sounds kind of woo-woo if you haven't heard of it before, but think about it. Stress, what does that do? It affects your sleep. It throws your body completely out of whack if you're in prolonged stress for, any length of time. Depression, right? It just makes you feel down, like nothing is possible. Anyway, so emotions affect our bodies. They affect our chemical makeup. They affect all kinds of things. And our cells, our DNA, are actually storing that information, which is what an emotion is. It's information, if we're not releasing it. So if we decide to hold on to it, which a lot of us do, our DNA will actually record it and it'll stay in there and then it'll kind of clog things up. It's pretty crazy. I know it sounds completely nuts, but, and in fact, it'll store it in different areas because everything has a frequency. And again, I know the word frequency, she sounds woo-woo. No, not really. If you think about it, God spoke everything into existence. So if you feel your voice box there, you can feel it vibrating as you talk. And so everything still kind of vibrates with the voice of God. Think about it. When you get an EKG, what are they measuring? They're measuring a frequency. So a rate at which something vibrates. So our thoughts vibrate too. And those emotions, if we're holding on to them, they have a certain frequency, so a certain vibrational rate, and they are attracted to our internal organs that have the same vibrational rate, which is pretty crazy. So, like anger has the same rate as your liver. It's pretty nuts. Anyway, so they can go and clog that organ. Well, God, in His infinite wisdom, created things to help us clear that junk out of the way. It's pretty awesome. So, plants, He created plants that we can use to help clear all that out. So, what I'm going to go over this morning is called a 60-second reset, and it requires 3 oils that all come actually in the starter kit. So if you have a starter kit, you can do this. If you were thinking about getting one, you can do it as soon as yours comes in. It's great. You're going to need frankincense. You're going to need lavender, and you're going to need stress away. 3 oils, super simple. So what you can do when you have a negative thought is, first thing is, you want to identify that feeling or emotion. So I know sometimes it's hard to put a name to it, but just, I'm feeling out of whack, I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling depressed, whatever you're struggling with, just give it a name, right? Give it a name. I am feeling blah. Well, first you identify you have it, then you give it a name. So that's the first 2 steps right there. Then the third one is just locate where you're feeling it. So like, oh, I'm feeling grief. Am I feeling grief here? Am I feeling grief in my throat? Am I feeling that let down feeling in the pit of my stomach? Wherever you're feeling it in your body, because you're going to feel it somewhere. Just try and be cognizant of that. Try and decide where you're feeling it. And then, identify that little voice that goes along with that feeling. So, you can't do this. It's more than you can handle. They're going to say no. Whatever that negative little voice is that goes with that emotion, just hold it there. And then in your hand, you put 1 drop each. And I should have opened these bottles, but that's okay. Of your frankincense. Ooh, I got 2. Must be my lucky day. I love Frank. And your lavender, 1 drop. And then your stress away. Mix my stress away up a little bit. All right. Whoop. All right. 1 drop each. And then you just rub your hands together. And just breathe. Take a deep, deep breath. And let it go. Now, and then just inhale as long as you need. About a minute is usually what it takes. But you should, if you're listening to that little voice, and if you are feeling that emotion, in your throat, in your stomach, wherever, you should feel like that tightness kind of release. And the reason it does that is these 3 oils particularly, they have chemicals in them that kind of act like Pac-Man. So they go in and they clean out that junk that we have let accumulate. And it lets us just let it go. Let it go. So there are excuse me, y'all. It's early. There are folks who will keep these oils on them at all times. They'll just get like an empty bottle and put equal amounts of Frank and lavender and stress away in them. And then that way, whenever they need to do a reset, because they're going along and something pops up, they can just do it right then, which is not a bad idea at all. All right. So we've been about 15 minutes. I'm going to pause here. And on Thursday, we'll go ahead and continue our discussion about doing heart work. And I'll tell you a little bit more about my story and what I've been going through. So thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you guys on Thursday right here on YouTube. All right. Love you guys. Bye.